Welcome to When Not Yet Becomes Right Now, the podcast where we dive deep into the moments of transformation, the times when not yet shifts into right now and everything changes. I'm your host, Jen Ginty, and this podcast is all about those pivotal moments in our life journeys. You know the ones when the hesitation fades, when we take that first step, even if it feels like a leap. It's in these moments that growth and healing begins. Each episode will explore stories of resilience, moments of clarity, and the sparks that ignite real change. From personal experiences to expert insights, we'll uncover how people navigate the complex journey we call life and come out stronger on the other side. Whether you're searching for that spark in your own life or just curious about how change unfolds for others, you're in the right place. We'll discuss the ups and downs, the breakthroughs and setbacks, and how to embrace the right now, even when it feels out of reach. Because sometimes the hardest part of the journey is realizing that the moment you've been waiting for has already arrived. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's get started. Hello, welcome to the first episode of When Not Yet Becomes Right Now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited. I'm Jen Ginty, and I wanted to take the first episode to talk about myself, introduce myself, and to let you know why I'm doing this podcast, what was the reason, what was the right now for me for this podcast, and tell you a little bit about my background. So I am a single mom. I have two boys. They are 20 and 18, so they've grown a lot over the years with me. And I also have two cats, Foxy and Ravens. And if you watch this video, you will see the cats all the time in my videos, because when I start talking, they love to sit in my lap or, you know, run around behind me. So if you are watching this on video, then you will most likely meet Raven and Foxy, and I hope that you'll enjoy them. So I live with complex PTSD and major depressive disorder from childhood abuse. And, throughout the years, when I first got out of the situation that I was in, my family was in, I spent a lot of time pushing off my healing journey. And it was because of fear. Fear can stop you in your path and not allow you to move forward in your journeys, right? I think a lot of you can, understand that and have lived that experience of fear, not being able to do something because you're afraid of many things. Honestly, I was afraid that if I got into looking at the trauma that I had, that I wouldn't be able to function. And as I said, I'm a single mom, and I had a lot of things I had to do as a mom to take care of my children. And one of my biggest fears during this time was that I wasn't going to be able to take care of them. I wasn't going to be able to do the day-to-day activities, that the trauma was going to stop me in my path. So I spent a lot of time saying not yet to getting into the nooks and crannies of my brain and where the trauma was sitting, where I could find the stories that come along with that trauma, right? So I said, not yet. When I was in high school, I said, not yet. I'm just trying to get through high school. And then with college, it was not yet. I'm in college. And then again, it was not yet. I'm starting a career right now. I can't do that. I can't take time to look at something that is honestly quite horrible for me and have that fear that I was not going to be able to do my job. So, and then I pushed it off yet again when I became a mother. I said, not yet. I'm a mom. I need to focus on these critters, right? These two boys need me, and I can't pull myself away from them and not be there for them when they need me. So fear really stopped me in my tracks when it came to looking at my trauma. Fast forward a few years, well, probably 10 or so years later, I owned a shop in my town, and I had to close it. I had to go into bankruptcy. It just wasn't working out. So many different factors. were happening. Again, single mom, boys, and my oldest son had some issues with his emotional behaviors, that kind of thing. So a lot of things came into play, and I had to close my shop and I had to go into bankruptcy. And that for me is really scary because one of my biggest triggers is money, is the fear that I'm not going to be able to live, pay for my apartment, buy food for my kids, that kind of thing. So it really triggered something in me when I had to close the shop and go into bankruptcy. It was the moment that my brain said, right now, you have to look at this because I was going through a brand new trauma of closing this shop, taking away an identity that I had. I was the shop owner, the boutique owner in downtown. And when I had to close the shop, I lost that identity. And I became fearful of even going downtown. It was really rough. I was afraid to even see where my shop was, so I wouldn't go downtown. I avoided it at all costs. And, relationships, I had troubles with my relationships, wasn't able to really, connect with people at that time. And it was then that my brain said to me, right now, you need to look at this. You can't move forward unless you start this journey. And I had to listen because basically my brain wasn't letting me do anything else. I couldn't focus. I couldn't make plans. I couldn't communicate well. And so it became the right now for me. I had a therapist and I love my therapist so much. She is fantastic. I'm going to tell my age. I don't care if anybody knows. I'm a 50-year-old woman. Just turned 50 last week, and I got a recommendation from a social worker about my therapist, and I found out that she was much younger than me, and I was. Wait a second. I don't think she's going to be able to help me. She's too young to be able to help me, right? But honestly, it was the best decision I made. I chose her. And you know what? The best part about being with a therapist who's younger than you is that they've gone through more training, more recent training about all the different modalities that they can use to help me, all the therapies that can help me specifically with my PTSD and the depression, anxiety that I have. So I'm going to tell you right now, don't if you get a recommendation for a therapist from someone you really, really trust, give it the time because I realized that I had the best therapist I could for myself. And I will always praise her. She's just fantastic. So have a therapist and I start doing the work. And, I had to face the issues that I had, the fears that I had. And you know what? It was rough. I decided to, you know, grab onto other places that I could find help. And I live in Massachusetts, and we have a premier mental health hospital. And I am so lucky to be able to work with them. It's called McLean Hospital. So I went to McLean, and they have a women's center, and it is focused on women with PTSD. So I went to them and I spent time there. I have done outpatient and inpatient with hospitals, specifically McLean Hospital. And I'm not, I'm not shy to say it. I believe that if you feel you need the help, that you need to go and be an inpatient, I strongly recommend you don't not listen to yourself, right? So I got into different other therapies as well. I was able to learn about my one of my favorite therapies, DBT, and I talk a lot about DBT in my Moody Talks. I created a doll out of all of this. I created a therapeutic doll at McLean Hospital. This was where I got the idea. while I was in a therapeutic group, I had said, I wish I had a monster that I could rip apart and throw across the room and bang against the walls. And people in the group were like, yeah, you should have that. And so I went home and not a tailor, not a seamstress in any way. And I just put together this ragtag plush monster doll. And what I did was I made the parts Velcro. So the head, the arms, and the legs, so that I could rip them apart. So I could get out that frustration that I had with all of my symptoms and with the anxiety and the depression. And that was a major part of my healing journey. It's one of those side journeys that became something so special, something that helped me to better cope and to allow myself to heal, because I have all of these people behind me. I have my therapist. I have the doctors at McLean Hospital, the people who run the the groups. I had all these people behind me, and I felt more secure in working through this healing journey. When you have people who are behind you and you trust and you want and they want you to do well and to heal, it opens up a whole new world. And that's what it did for me with Moody. My Moody monster is this pull apart monster that I created and I actually sell. And they're great for helping children to better cope with their big frustrations, with their big feelings. And when I created this doll, it created for me path, a path in my journey. We all have multiple paths in these journeys, and these journeys are never linear. They're up and down like a roller coaster. But having this little side journey, kind of like the Hobbit, going on a little side journey, it created a space for me to help others learn about emotions and how to cope with them. And by doing that, I was better able to do it myself. I was teaching coping skills. I am teaching coping skills still on my Moody Talks, my Moody Monster. And I was reintroducing myself to emotions and coping skills that you can use. So it became a major path in my journey to help myself heal through the trauma that I have been through. So that's a little bit about me. And what I want from this podcast, why I created this podcast, honestly, is because I started going on other people's podcasts to talk about emotions, healing journeys, and coping, how to better cope. So I've been going on to these podcasts and having a great time with the hosts and really getting down to the nitty gritty. And during these podcasts, I started talking about not yet becoming right now. Talked about how not yet was a major part of my life until, just maybe about 10 years ago. So I was talking about these things with them and always talking about not yet becoming right now. And I realized there are so many other people out there who have had that same journey, keeping, pushing off something that they want to do or something they don't really want to do, but have to date those healing journeys for just about anything, right? And I know there are so many journeys out there that people take in their lives. I mean, think about it. Mine is just one journey. My healing of childhood trauma is just one journey. There are so many others out there. The journey of deciding to go back to school, right? Or the journey to come out, like come out and be open about your sexuality. And there's so many other journeys that I know people are on, and I want to hear them. I want to share them. And I want people to understand that they're not alone. There are others out there who have gone the path that you may need to go on yourself. And they're open and willing to talk about it and to get down to the nitty gritty of how it happened for them. What was there right now? What was that moment that sparked the journey that they needed to be on? So that is why I created this podcast, and I'm looking forward to speaking to so many people, not just people who are talking about their healing journeys, but also professionals who have seen so many journeys and have, the expertise and the knowledge to help us who are going through it to better control the journey they're on. So I hope that you will listen in. Like I said, if you're watching this on video, you'll watch this and learn more about those moments that spark change in us. So I look forward to giving you guys more information and bringing on my guests and talking all about these journeys that others have been on and how they made it through and what they're doing now. So thank you for listening, and I will see you guys soon.